Hi everyone, how are you? You know that feeling when you're driving and a song comes on that you haven't heard in years and suddenly your throat gets tight before you even realize why? That's what pulling cards for this reading felt like. Something just hit before I could even name it. And I've been doing this long enough to know that when a reading moves through me before I can analyze it, that's when I need to pay the closest attention. So I'm paying attention. And what I saw in this spread for you, I need you to sit down for it. Genuinely. Get comfortable. Because we're going somewhere real today. They cried over you today. I'm not building up to that. I'm not going to warm the room first and ease you into it slowly. That is a thing Spirit put in front of me the moment I sat down with this deck, and it is a thing I am leading with. Because you deserve to hear it without waiting. Someone cried over you. Today. In private. When no one was watching. And before you wonder whether I mean that loosely, whether I mean they were emotional or slightly moved or momentarily affected, I don't. I mean their eyes filled. I mean something moved through them when they thought about you that was bigger than they were prepared for. I mean the feeling that has been living quietly underneath everything between you and this person broke the surface today in the most human way a feeling can break the surface. And then, and this is the part I need you to really hear, they said something out loud about you. Something they have been keeping behind closed doors in themselves for longer than you probably realize. And once it was out, once those words were in the air, there was no taking them back. Nor did they want to. You are not supposed to scroll past this video today. Something in you recognized this title because something in you already knew. And now that you're here, let's look at exactly what happened, exactly what was said, and exactly where this is going. My name is Elena. Let's get into the video. The first card out of this deck is the Moon. And I felt this card before I flipped it. There was a weight in the energy, a particular kind of aching quality that the Moon always carries. Because the Moon is not the card of obvious feelings. It is not the card of people who wear their hearts on the outside and tell you exactly where they stand. The Moon is the card of what lives beneath. What exists in the emotional underground of a person. What has been growing in the dark, quietly, privately, in a place no one else has been allowed to see. This person has been carrying something about you in that underground place. Something that developed slowly. Something that deepened over time without them fully giving it permission to. You would appear in their thoughts at the most ordinary moments, not because they decided to think about you, but because you had simply taken up residence somewhere in them that they couldn't control. And every time that happened, every time you arrived uninvited into a quiet moment, something in their chest would do something they couldn't quite name. And the Moon also tells me why it has taken this long for any of it to surface. Because this is a person who does not move on feeling alone. They need to be certain before they let something this real be seen. They need the ground to be solid before they step. And so they held it, managed it, kept it contained in the place where the Moon lives. Deep, private, theirs alone. But here is what the Moon is showing me about today specifically. Something tipped. Something in the careful management of this feeling became unmanageable. Not because they lost control, but because the feeling finally became bigger than the container. And what spills when a feeling that size finally overflows is not performance. It is not exaggeration. It is truth. The quiet, private, finally too big to hold kind. That is what the tears were. The Moon does not produce dramatic tears. It produces the kind that come when you're alone, and something hits you in the chest, and your eyes fill before your mind even catches up to why. You hit them in the chest today, in a quiet moment, when no one was watching. And they may not have even fully understood why it landed so hard. That is the Moon, feeling things that are bigger than your ability to explain them. You are not a passing thought to this person. You never were. Second card, the King of Cups reversed. This card explains everything. Every moment of distance. Every time they pulled back right when things were getting real. every conversation that stayed surface level when it wanted to go somewhere deeper. The King of Cups in his upright position is someone who has mastered the management of their inner world. Steady, composed, warm but controlled. Reversed, it shows me someone who has been working incredibly hard to keep that composure around you specifically. Because you, for some reason, make the management difficult. This is the energy of someone who told themselves a story. The story went like this: I am not going to let this become something I can't handle. I am going to stay in control of how I feel here. I am going to be fine. And they told themselves that story enough times that they almost believed it. Almost. But you cannot suppress a feeling this size indefinitely. The King of Cups reversed can hold the water back for a while, but water always finds its way through. And what Spirit is showing me about today, about the tears, about the words that finally came out, is that the grip released. Not because they decided to release it, because the feeling simply became stronger than the grip. And what I find so significant about the King of Cups reversed in this position is what it tells me about the quality of what they feel. Because someone only works this hard to manage a feeling that actually matters to them. People do not build elaborate internal structures around feelings they're indifferent to. The size of the suppression tells you the size of what's underneath it. What's underneath it, in the case of what this person feels about you, is enormous. And today, some of that enormous thing came out. As tears first, then as words. Third card, the Tower. I need you to hear what this card is and is not saying in this context. Because when the Tower appears, people brace. But this Tower is not in your future. It is in their recent past. It is describing something that has already happened inside this person. The collapse has already occurred. You are receiving this information after the fact. What fell was the wall. The carefully maintained, intelligently constructed emotional wall that this person had built around their feelings for you. It was a good wall, built from real experience, built because they have been hurt before by moving too fast, saying too much, letting someone see the size of what they feel before the ground was ready to hold the weight of it. But the Tower does not ask permission before it falls. It falls when the thing it's been holding becomes undeniable. And here is what became undeniable today. You. Specifically, the reality of you. Not an idea of you. Not a memory or a projection. The actual, real, specific you, the way you are, the way you exist, the effect you have, became too real to keep behind a wall. And so the wall came down. Not slowly. The Tower does not do things slowly. It came down completely. And what was behind the wall when it fell, what got released into the open when the structure collapsed, is everything this person has been holding. That is what you felt in the energy recently, if you've been sensitive to shifts. That is what the tears were. That is what the words were. The Tower falling, not as destruction, as the end of containment. What has been contained is now free. Fourth card, the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is the card I needed to see in this position because it answers the question I know you're sitting with, which is, what exactly did they say? What were the words? And what did they actually mean underneath the surface of them? The Ace of Swords is truth, not curated truth, not softened, carefully worded, 1 foot in 1 foot out truth. The kind that cuts clean and clear through everything. The kind that once it's been spoken, cannot be unspoken. And what this card is telling me about what was said today is this. It was the most honest thing this person has allowed themselves to say out loud about the situation, possibly ever. It may not have sounded like a grand declaration. It may have come out in ordinary words. Something like, I don't know. There's just something about them I can't stop thinking about. Or, I think I've been feeling this for a while and I haven't known what to do with it. Or something even simpler, even quieter. But underneath whatever the exact words were, the Ace of Swords says one thing clearly. They were not performing. They were not exaggerating. They were not saying what they thought someone wanted to hear. They were saying what was true. And the moment those words were out, the moment the Ace of Swords cut through all the careful management and the wall and the composed exterior, something shifted in them permanently. Because hearing your own truth in your own voice does something that thinking it alone cannot do. It makes it real in a way that cannot be made unreal. They know now. They know what this is. They know what they feel. And the question that is sitting in front of them now, the question the Ace of Swords leaves behind when it passes through, is what are they going to do with that knowing? I have to stop here. Because Spirit is pressing something on me that I would be doing you a disservice to skip, just because it is less comfortable than everything else today. Everything I have shown you so far is about what this person did, what they felt, what broke open in them, what they said, and all of it is real. I am not walking any of it back. But here's what Spirit is also showing me, and I need you to hear this without deflecting. You have been waiting for this. You have been wanting exactly this. The confirmation, the proof, the undeniable sign that what you feel has something real on the other side of it. And now you have it. And what I am seeing in your energy right now is that even with all of this in front of you, there is a part of you that is still standing slightly back, still watching rather than fully entering, still keeping one small reservation in place, just in case. And I understand that. I do. Hope that has had to wait a long time starts to feel like a risk. Believing fully feels more dangerous than believing partially, because partial belief can survive being wrong in a way that full belief cannot. But Spirit is asking me to say this to you directly. This person cried over you. They broke a silence they had been keeping for a long time. They let the wall fall. They said something true out loud. They went first. And they went first not knowing if you would meet them there. The question that is sitting in front of you today is not whether they mean it. The question is, are you going to let yourself fully believe it? Not with a reservation. Not with a just in case. All the way. The Five of Cups. This connection has moved through loss, through a period where something felt gone or close to gone, where the distance between you felt heavy and possibly final. The Five of Cups shows someone standing over what spilled, focused on what was lost rather than what remained. That season was real. It cost both of you something real. But behind the figure in this card, there are always cups still standing, still full. That is where you both are now. The season of loss is ending. What held is coming into focus. Present, the Two of Cups. Two people, both seeing each other, both choosing. Not one person feeling and one person receiving. Two people in genuine mutual recognition. The Two of Cups as your present card tells me that the mutuality between you and this person is not something approaching. It is something that already exists underneath the surface of things right now. The feeling is already shared, already real on both sides. It simply has not been said face to face yet in the full way it needs to be said. Future, the star. I exhale every single time I see the star as a future card because it is the universe's own confirmation. The star does not appear in readings that are going nowhere. It appears when something has done its full journey through difficulty and distance and is finally, genuinely ready to arrive at something real. Hope that is warranted, not wishful thinking. Earned hope. The future of this connection is the star. That is Spirit signing its name to everything shown today. I know how long you have been in this. I know the weight of caring about someone and not being certain they carry anything back. I know what that kind of not knowing does over time, how it makes you careful, how it makes you pull back slightly in every interaction, how it makes you learn to want this in a quieter way so that if it turns out to be one-sided, the fall isn't as far. Today, the cards are asking you to stop preparing for a fall that is not coming. What this person feels is real. What they said is real. What broke open in them today is real. And you, all of you, the full unedited version that you sometimes only allow when no one is watching, you are the reason all of it is real. You did not imagine this connection. You did not make it bigger than it is. You did not build something alone that only exists on your side. You are loved in a way you do not yet fully know the size of. Let that in, not carefully, not with a hand already halfway pulled back, all the way in. Quick confirmations before the final card. Letters coming through, a very strong J, clear and immediate. Also M and L. And something beginning with C at the edge of this energy. Names I'm hearing: Jordan, Maya, Lucas, Eliana, Caleb. And something softer, Layla or Lara, is circling this reading. Astrology, enormous Scorpio energy. The secrecy, the depth, the feeling things that live below the surface, that is Scorpio running through everything we've looked at today. Pisces as well, the tears, the sensitivity, the feelings bigger than words. And Cancer, the protection of feelings before they're ready to be seen. If any of that landed, this reading found you. The final card is the Page of Cups. And when I see this card closing out a reading like this one, I get a feeling like something small and sweet is already on its way to you. The Page of Cups is a messenger, not a loud one, not the kind that arrives with a grand gesture that you can't miss. The quiet kind. The kind that arrives in an ordinary moment and makes the moment extraordinary. What I'm seeing for you in the near future is a communication. Something that arrives when you're not expecting it. A message, a conversation, a moment where this person reaches out in a way that feels slightly different from their usual rhythm. More deliberate, more like they are trying to close some of the distance between you on purpose. Or it might be a look, the kind that happens in a real moment between two people where words aren't necessary, because the look says everything the words have been too careful to say yet. The Page of Cups is gentle, patient. It does not rush, but it does arrive. And when it arrives for you, when this moment comes, I need you to be present enough to receive it. Not half present, not watching from behind glass with one reservation still in place. Fully present. Because what is walking toward you right now deserves to be met by all of you. If this reading touched something specific in your situation and you want to go deeper into your timeline, into what this person is planning, into what the best next step actually looks like for you, I do one-on-one readings by email. The link is right in the description. Reach out when it feels right. Sometimes what we've been waiting for arrives so quietly, we almost miss it. Because we spent so long preparing for the worst that we forgot to leave the door open for the best. Leave the door open. What is moving toward you is real. What was felt today is real. What was said is real. And you, exactly as you are, all the way through, you are what made it real. If this found you today, leave a heart in the comments. Just that. And subscribe if you haven't. I don't want you to miss what's coming next. Take care of yourself. I'll see you tomorrow.